All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Into the Storm, sponsored by Bison Ventures, Informed Mortgage Lending. And thank you to Trisha, my sister over here, Trisha Madrid. She is the podcast producer, and my nephew Trey, who is the podcast engineer. And thank you for joining us today, too. We have Rachel Drummond in the house. She actually is a licensed loan officer with Bison Ventures. And she was the individual that brought, well, I mean, I already knew the guy, but she helped bring bring our guest today. So we have Ed Drummond from Capstone Realty Professionals. I looked at his shirt.
Nice, thanks for that. Yeah, I'm glad you
said I knew where it worked, but I always say Capstone. I don't ever go Realty Professionals. So Ed and I have we have a history of somewhat. We've met each other a long time ago at our friend's bachelor party-ish.
Jumping out of an airplane.
Whose was it?
Bo Lump.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
So way back in the day, that was 22 years ago probably, and then we reconnected later on in our life. Ed and I are in a networking group together called Junto.
Yes.
And that is the first networking group that Benjamin Franklin created, and that's the name why. So everybody says that when we say Junto, people say Junta. So that's the name, because one time we did have somebody in here recently, when I said that, and she goes, "Oh, it sounds super serious." I was like, it is serious.
It is serious. Totally serious.
It is serious.
Who was that? Tell me who it was.
I can't tell you. I'll tell you offline.
Yeah.
So super, but very happy to have you here today, because we've not gone super deep into like some of your history here. So we did our little pre-interview, and it was very interesting to find out. You know, I didn't even realize where you were from.
Oh, thanks, man.
So let's get.
Thanks for having me, dude. I appreciate you.
No, absolutely. So before we get into what you do, we kind of want to get into a little bit about your history, and I think it's important to talk about obviously where you grew up and how that was. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Southern California in a place called West Covina. It was like 30 miles east of downtown LA, and I grew up there. It was a good childhood. It was a good upbringing, I would say.
What was the was it like a upper middle class area?
It was like middle class. It was like straight up middle class. There was an upper middle class area, but that wasn't where my high school was.
Okay.
Yeah, we were like middle class. There's probably some upper middle class people that went to our school that I just didn't know. Yeah, but yeah. My parents split up when I was younger. I think it was like 9. Like I mentioned, it was like the summer that they really split was that summer of flipping Doom, right? With Richard Ramirez. So that was
Richard Ramirez for everybody who doesn't. Yeah, there you go.
So he was killing people like all around in our area.
It's a great Netflix story on this.
Oh yeah, it totally was.
It's like the Valley. Wouldn't they call him the Valley Killer or something? Wasn't he?
I don't remember.
I don't know if that was who that guy was. No, but he legit, like there was stuff that was happening miles from our house. And as a kid, it was like the stuff was on the news, and it was scary. That was when I started sleeping with a bat. Yeah. So yeah.
I bet. So was so you're mixed race?
Yes.
Right. So your mom's Mexican, your dad's
my
black.
Mom's Hispanic, Mexican, Spanish, all of it from Mexico. Mexican Indian, Tarahumara Indian, and then my dad is black and really and like Native American. I mean, he's kind of lighter skin, but yeah, he's black.
So the reason why I bring that up is because it's just interesting to hear kind of how you grew up, like and who you kind of ran with in high school, what kind of kid you were.
Oh yeah.
So you're growing up in West Covina, and you're going to school with like you said, you have Mexicans, you have the whites, you have the Asians, you have the blacks. And you're kind of floating around in all the different groups.
Yeah.
So, like, what kind of kid were you then?
I was pretty boring, like legit, dude. I didn't drink, right? Yeah. I didn't smoke. I think I had before I went to college, I had 2 drinks, right? And I thought that was a lot, right? Like legit. I was like, dang. But I think I legit was just a floater. I played tennis, right, until I didn't. And my senior year, I was like, this sucks, and I was growing so fast, and I wasn't gonna quite make the team that I was hoping to. So I was like, nah, I'll bail on that. And then it was in band, drumline my last 2 years. And
would you say you were kind of nerdy?
I was a total nerd, dude. Yeah, but nobody had anything really bad to say about me, because Yeah, I wasn't
you were
really
the tall, skinny kid that was playing tennis and in the band, but was friends with everybody.
Hey, senior
and didn't
year
drink,
I was.
by the way.
I know, cool. I know. Oh, and my glasses were dope, dude. Let me tell you.
So that's how you got into UCSB.
Yeah.
I was gonna go like, so were you? So you got good grades too, obviously.
I mean, my grades were decent. Yeah,
Okay.
my grades weren't all A's, but I mean, yeah, A's and B's.
So nowadays, I mean, like, I feel like UCSB is a very, so he went to University of California, Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like that's a really hard school to get into.
Now it is.
Not?
So, okay. So I went back. When was it that we went? It was, maybe three. Okay. So we went back there and we rolled through Isla Vista where the campus is. And we went into the flipping liquor store. We're like, all right, we're going to pick up like a bottle of booze and roll down to the beach and do what we used to do. And then we're like, yeah, we're old, but it'll be fun as fuck.
Right.
So we went in there, and the guy that worked there went to school with us, and he was like, oh my gosh, and he like recognized us, and we was like,
What?
oh dude, I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like, your work, that's amazing, dude. And he owns the liquor store now.
Right.
And I was like, dang, man. I'm like, these kids, like, this place seems dead. And he goes, oh no, this isn't like when you went here. He goes, this is a totally good school now. And we're like, oh, sorry, dude. It was so funny.
That is funny. I mean, I could have sworn that UCSB is still considered like a party school. I may be totally off on that.
No, it totally is.
It
and
is.
I mean, just how it's set up geographically, like, brother, it's a mile square of students.
Right.
Like, what do people think is going to happen there?
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
And it's right on the beach.
Right.
And it overlooks the ocean, and it's flipping beautiful.
Beautiful
It's like, are you
campus.
kidding me?
Right.
Yeah.
So smart kids and rich kids and
Yeah.
lucky kids.
Yeah, lucky, yeah. Hey, I 100%, man. I feel
Yeah.
fortunate to go to school there for sure, because it was an experience. It was defining for me.
So your major. So what did you go there to school to do, and why did you end up going there?
So
And how far? Hold on. And how far was it from where you West Covina?
2 hours from West Covina.
Okay.
So setting up goals early on, I had no goals past just getting into college.
Right.
It was the school I wanted to go to. I got into other schools as well, but that was like, the others were the defaults, like the fallbacks. This one was I had to go to UCSB, and once I did that, I was like, what am I going to study now? Right. It's like, maybe I'll study oceanography. Maybe I'll study, and never did I think that I would have focused on the sciences until, the beginning of my third year, really.
Really?
Yeah. Like my first 2 years, my first quarter struggled, right? Barely stayed in school, right? Then the last 2 quarters, that first year, kind of found myself, really learned how to study, because I think that was the challenge, was that high school was so easy,
right?
And it was like, dang, I had no study habits. I had no ability to learn how to study. So then learned to study, got through the first year with, B's and C's, maybe a couple of A's, and then thought I was going to be like a soc major or something. I didn't know what I was going to do.
Right.
End of the second year, it was kind of like where the rubber meets the road. What are you going to do? And that's when I turned it on and became super boring and worked and took away too many classes. And
so you're a degree in environmental science and then a minor in geology.
Yeah. So geology was just a default because I took so many geology classes that it was just like, oh, all I need is like a couple more and I'll have a minor. But it was, so my third year in, I had to take all the sciences because I hadn't even started them.
Right.
So I had to take a year of bio, a year of chem, a year of physics, a year and a half of calculus and differential equations, and all of these classes that then I could get into the
so you
environmental
graduated
science.
college in like 2.5 years.
No.
Basically.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Really?
The real
I
program?
went to school for 5, but whatever.
I had to cram them all in, and that's when I felt like I learned a lot about myself. Then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I stopped partying as much. I focused more on just getting it done, and I had to work, right? So I was working at the time, so it was just all consuming.
You went back to old Ed.
I did.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Old Ed seems like he had his shit together better than the other guy.
No.
Right?
Yeah. The other guy was trying to figure it out.
So the environmental, so do you really think you were going to do anything with this, or you're just like, this is a way to
I did have this like, you know what? I'm going to fix this. I took a couple classes where like one of them was like, okay, styrofoam versus paper, which is better? And I really put a lot of thought into it. You know what I mean? I was like, I love this. Like I'm gonna solve something. Right. You know what I mean? And it was like, nah, man. Like, yeah.
So how long after you graduated college did you go like, all right, so I got to find a real job?
Okay. So I had a dope job in college. When I finished college, I worked for an entrepreneur. This guy's name was Mark. I met this guy at this other dude named Rod Rines. He was my dude. And Rod and I met at summer school at Santa Barbara City College. We were both taking a Spanish class. Rod was older and I was older, but Rod was a few years older than me. And Rod goes, hey, do you know how to solder? I go, yeah, I know how to solder. And he goes, you want a job? And I was like, the hell? Like, sure. Yeah, I'll take a job. And he goes, how do you know how to solder? And I was like, well, you know, I used to play with RC cars. He goes, okay, right. Like one of those, like, right. Figure it out. So he took me to this dude, Mark's house. Mark was the guy. Have you ever been camping in California? Mm-mm. Okay, so in California, the state parks have showers, and the shower systems are coin operated. We installed all of those shower systems, and Mark was the guy who brought that to the state of California and instituted it all. Yeah.
Those are still there.
Totally. He gave them back over a few years. I think he basically gave it all to them over like 10 years. Yeah. But he gave them only 35% early on, and literally it was all coin operated stuff. We do the installs, we do the coin collection, we do all of it, and it paid really, really well. So, and Rod ended up being a good friend, but he was on the SEALs team. So I had no idea that this dude was, dude, Rod. So how I found that out, let me tell you about this. So I used to be just the cocky, thinking I could do all this stuff. It was Rod, myself, and this dude Cody, and the three of us would go on these trips. We'd do installs. We'd set all these things up in the parks. It taught me how to sweat copper, taught me how to run electrical, like all that stuff. Right? It was dope. And, we're driving up to this place one time and Rod's talking about shooting, right? And I was like, oh, yeah, man, I could shoot. And we make a bet. And I was like, oh, yeah, dude, totally outshoot you. And he goes, yeah, what do you want to put on it? I'm like, $1,000. Back then, $1,000 was a lot of money. Yeah. Yeah,
you were a college student.
Totally. And Cody's in the back going, don't do that, right? He's like kicking my chair. And I was like, oh, Rod's in the Navy. Ooh, look at Rod. Rod's shooting big guns. Like I'm talking all this smack. And Cody, we pull over to the side of the road, stop for like bathroom or something. And Cody's like, you're such an idiot. And I was like, what, man? Like, Navy guy. And he goes, Rod was a flipping SEAL, bro. And I could see I could like feel it. Like my whole body just like went numb. And I was like, I am such a flipping idiot. Like, yeah, it was funny.
Did you guys actually do it though?
Hell no. No, okay. he let me off the hook for that one.
When you found out? Right.
Oh yeah, but he's such a good dude. Yeah.
So that was your job right out of school, or you're doing that in school?
So I did that in my last year of school, and then I graduated and I stayed there for the summer and did that and literally just packed on a ton of hours. That's when I started collecting the money down in San Diego. So I was a collector. I basically would drive down to San Diego. I'd go to the parks. I'd open up the coin collection. They gave me a Ford Ranger, this white Ranger, and it had a lockbox in the back that could fit $5,000 worth of quarters. Brother, I would be collecting $25,000 each trip. This thing was loaded to the back. It was in the back of it was so sketch. The dang thing's brakes, like, man, I was going through Anza Borrego, all these creepy areas, like by myself.
Trucks like this.
Oh, dude, $25,000 in the back of it. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I look back at that and go, that was stupid.
So did you want to stay in California?
No. Well, I was kind of seeing somebody that had gone down to San Diego and thought, if there was ever a time to not follow someone, it would be now. And my cousin bought a place up in North Scottsdale back then. That was 99. Okay. And it's this little community called Arizona Silverado, and all the houses are like little square blocks on top of each other, just north of Greyhawk up there, right?
Okay.
And Troy and I were, my buddy Troy, he and I moved out here together. And,
Troy Henson?
Yeah, Troy Henson. Yeah, and he was like, my cousin, Troy and I were living in a 1-bedroom, like 600 square foot, like little shoebox. It was 1-bedroom place for a year, and all in, we were probably spending like $1,200 a month to stay in this space down there. And Tim was like, yeah, I'll let you stay here for $300.
Yeah.
$300 a month.
Yeah.
Each one of you gets your own room and you've got a bathroom. It's like, hell yeah. So we did that. And I never expected to stay out here.
So when you came out here, what was like your thought process on working? So you moved out here to you didn't have a job or what?
No. So I came out here with with thousands of dollars in my bank account.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I worked a lot, and like I had enough money to last me for a year. How
old were you at this point?
It was like 22.
Wow.
Way too responsible.
God,
well, no,
seriously.
But I worked I worked a lot.
Yeah.
And I made overtime. Like those trips down to like Anza Borrego and San Diego, like, dude, I was working like 17-hour days and making overtime. And they were paying me more than any of the jobs that I could get after college. So, initially, when I moved out to Phoenix, I was going to move that company out with us. So Rod and I were like, yeah, I'll just move out there. I'll start the company out there too. And I'll just figure out dude, I got out here and realized how hot it was and realized that the state parks really didn't care. And I was like, oh, okay.
Are there even showers?
Yeah, I'm like, it ain't going to work.
Yeah.
So that was gone. And then, and then I got bored. So like after a few weeks, I got bored, started working temp jobs, temp jobs through a couple of different temp agencies. And then, like a month later, I moved out in October. By December, I was interviewing for real jobs. So that's when I interviewed at Aerotech. Okay. My buddy Lubo out of California was working Aerotech then. And he was like, I know this guy, I'll get you an interview. I was like, cool, I'll try it. Let's see what happens.
So Ed, the temp jobs.
Yeah.
Wide variety? Did you kind of stay in one lane? Like what was the worst or the most interesting thing you did when you were a temp?
They were all like office jobs, all phone types jobs. The one that I mentioned was, so it was December, like November, December timeframe. And I was basically declining people for secured credit cards. A secured credit card is where you pay for the card. These people were getting declined to pay to have a credit card. I thought it was the craziest thing.
That is the craziest thing. I still don't understand. Isn't that the whole point of secured credit cards? That's what I
thought. So I didn't last. I lasted like a week and a half there. Yeah. And I was only on like 7 to 10 day stints, and that one I was like, find me something else. Like this sucks.
That's depressing.
It was so depressing, and I was just trying to be as positive as I could and help these people out, and it was just like, oh, that sucks. Like, yeah, I didn't even know.
So Aerotech, so that's that. I had a lot of friends that went to go work there out of school, and that was a grind job.
Yeah,
like you had to work. I mean, that was a big boy job that a lot of people got burnt out on that type of job.
It was. To me, it was a great first real job.
That's what I was going to say. It's a great starting job. Yeah.
Yeah. Their training was amazing. In the recruiting industry, like once you started there, it was like, you always had recruiters calling you going, oh, well, maybe you could work over here. And it was always like, okay, cool. Yeah. So I did that for almost 3 years. I loved that job. Like it was fun. I got recruited out of there to work for kind of an environmental startup and thought I was going to save the world. And that lasted 6 months. Yeah.
Back to that again. Huh?
Yeah, seriously. And I was like, I'm not doing anything positive here. So let me get out. So
let's get to how you got to where you're at now. So you're with Capstone Realty Professionals, but so you're property management, but you also do traditional real estate. So where did like that whole like idea thinking that I'm going to get into real estate now?
Okay, so I didn't know I was going to get into real estate full time until much later. I knew I was going to be investing in real estate back then, Aerotech days. Okay, like that was when I started listening to the books, a few that resonated. Of course, the Rich Dad Poor Dad series, and then Millionaire Next Door. Like I loved that one. That one spoke to me, and I was just like, I could totally be that. I could totally be the guy that was like the sleeper, right? And I always liked that.
You're a learner.
Yeah, I love to learn. Yeah. I mean, there was the full year. Like I'm not religious at all, but there was like a full year that I read as much as I could about the life of Jesus.
Oh,
just because, dude. Yeah, because I did go to church growing up a lot, but had so many questions, right? So many questions. And, that 1 year, I would dedicate a year to something. Like 1 year, it was all concerts. 1 year, it was that whole, anything I get my hands on that were the life of Jesus. But I tried to structure my years so that I was able to go, okay, cool. that's this. And
Right.
then I was doing it on purpose, and I felt like it was working.
Very disciplined. I'm looking at his wife right now. So, wow.
Yeah, structure.
Very structured.
Yeah, the structure works. Like to me, it
Yeah.
really works. But yeah, sometimes, Rachel could tell you, like I can suck too. Yeah.
That's not what I meant, but I looked at you. But
No,
I
totally.
could see it be like, oof, you got to have some control.
Total discipline, brother. It's discipline. To be a real estate investor, it's just discipline, right?
Yeah. It seems like you've been a disciplined guy forever. You might have had like a 2-year lapse maybe where you decided to have a little bit of fun, but then you just got refocused and super mature, I think, beyond your years, probably a very early age.
Well, I appreciate that.
And
I don't think so much stuff.
Trust
I
me.
know that.
Yeah. Yes, no doubt.
Ask Trey. He's 25, 24?
24.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you have any friends like him? No. And I know if I would have gotten married early, probably I would have been a little crazier than I was, but I was up until that point.
Nice.
So what was your first investment then?
Okay, so let's see. I think what started it off, my mom sold a house, the house I grew up in, and she needed to do a 1031 exchange, and I had just learned about this stuff.
Yeah.
She 1031'd a property out into Tempe that I moved in and was like her tenant. That was property manager number 1, right? Then I bought a house 2 years later. I bought that house, moved into it, managed her place. And then that was in 04. And then in 06, I bought my first investment property. So it was at the peak. And that was before I was in real estate full time. I was a vendor. I worked for a relocation company.
Okay.
And, getting into that, my clients were realtors. So, I got my real estate license in 04, so I'd know my client better, but not necessarily so that I could go and buy real estate.
Right.
But yeah, that first investment property, it's over at the
That
cliffs.
bit your butt.
Hell yeah.
Bad, right?
Dude, that was the one that was like that. The one that told me that I was not worth investing.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, that was a challenge. That was 06, and it totally
Did you hang on to
imploded.
that property? Did you end up selling it?
Oh yeah, I've never sold anything, bro. Like that's the game. Like my game is I have a mentor that I met in 2010. He's the one who kind of kicked me in the pants and got me to really move forward with everything. But he always says, he goes, you don't lose in real estate until you sell, right?
Yeah.
The only time you lose in real estate is when you sell.
Yep.
It's like, okay.
So you held that property that long?
Yeah. I modified it though. When I got into real estate full time, my first year on paper, I made nothing, right? I had 13 transactions my first year. It was 2007. 13 transactions.
That's not that bad, actually.
It was tough, but I had a nest egg saved up, so it was perfect. But modified that one, modified my primary, kept them. But it helped in painting the picture. And I love the way it worked out,
So did you have a system that you were going to try to purchase a certain amount of properties, like if you wanted like one a year, or like what was your system? What's your system now?
Not until 2010.
Okay.
So in 2010, that was when I really looked at it and realized that it wasn't just because I'm a horrible investor, right? I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like people put on themselves like I'm bad at this. It's because I didn't know, right?
Yeah.
Like how am I supposed to know if I didn't know? Now I knew, and it was like, oh my gosh, okay, I've got the people that are telling me like what's up, how to do it, reading the right things, recognizing where I made the mistakes with that first one, it was a completely emotional decision, right? Like I made every decision poorly with that one. I went in with some friends. They bought them as well, right? They bought that property as well. The builder that built my house in 2004 was the one who turned these condos at the cliffs at North Mountain. So I thought, wow, that's like perfect. They're the ones who did my house.
Right.
They subsidized the HOA, and I didn't know what the numbers were. Like I didn't understand the numbers. Biggest problem of all of them. And then, just emotional decision to buy.
Yeah.
It was bad. But after that,
2010,
buying wholesale properties. Because of the modifications, I wasn't able to get any financing. I mean, I couldn't even get a car loan. So basically I had to pay everything for cash. I had to buy everything cash. So it was, you know, the first property after Thunderbird was this property. So met this dude. He came out to Sleep in Heavenly Peace with me, the first one.
Okay.
I brought him out. So this guy, he goes by Sean. I helped him buy a property in North Scottsdale, and it was a short sell. And after we close, we sit down. I get to know the guy. He started out as an immigrant from Iran during the 70s, went to college in Seattle, and went to one of those flipping classes that says buy real estate with other people's money. He did, and then started buying apartment complexes. And with those apartment complexes, like, he had millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, he called me out. We were having drinks at his house one night, and the next day, like, I was on the fence about buying this wholesale property. And I asked him, I go, Sean, what should I do with this? And he just looks at me and he goes, he's calling me names, right?
Yeah.
But he was like, you're such an imposter. Like, you got me to buy this flipping place. You got me to buy this place. Mm-hmm. And now you won't even do it yourself? Like, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. So I'll buy it. So you're telling me I should buy it? Yeah. So I bought it. And that was the first one. And once I got that one done, paid $36,000 for it. It needed everything.
Right.
Cleaned it up. It immediately rented for like $750 a month. Was like, okay, that works. Like, let's see what else we can do. So then it was just a matter of, now my goal was like one a year after that, right? Like, at least do one a year. But buy them with either cash or financing, and do it like the way I wanted to. So I was able to get, you know, a few unencumbered. And then once I was able to get the qualifying, you know, be able to qualify for them, then I started buying them with financing.
So explain unencumbered.
They do not have loans on them. Yeah, so they're paid off. And
so why would somebody want to get rid of an unencumbered? So they can't get a loan, they can't refinance, you know, so they need to get rid of it because they need the cash.
Well, yeah. So and in my situation, it's, again, getting back to your point, it's the discipline, right? Yeah. It's like, I don't need the cash. I don't need the money in those properties. I need those properties to be paying my future self.
Yeah.
Not me right now. That's the hustle right now. That's growing the business. But having an unencumbered property, at some point, I want them all to be paid off. Right. And then winning, right? But right now, I don't need that. Right now, I'd rather leverage them and pull money out of them and put them into other properties, and just to keep the process going.
Right. So do you do, moving ahead a little bit further, but
sure.
do you do cash out refis on those properties to buy other properties now?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
So like the last one that I just picked up. So think about the opportunity, like legit. Think about like my building. Okay, so my building I bought cheap with an SBA loan. Okay, Bought it cheap, structured the deal with, I bought it from the Plasterers Union here in Phoenix. Plasterers Union, bought it from them, but there were two properties, right? SBA will only loan on one property. So it was like, all right, so let's figure out something creative. I did a sale leaseback for them for this place next door. So I was able to buy that one too. I fixed that up first, fixed it up, let them move in there, and then took over their headquarters, which is where Capstone is.
Yeah.
Well, fast forward 6 years, that basically the refi from that was what bought all the space next door and was the down payment on the rest of it, right? So it was like...
So you were in the other spot first, or you just owned that first? You were never in that spot?
No, I was never in the other spot.
Okay.
Yeah, because again,
and that's a coffee shop.
Coffee shop and
donuts or
all kinds of It's four units over there, but the money from one fed the other one, so it's like I didn't have to put any money into it, really, right? It's just taking money from one, leveraging it, and putting it into another. So to me, I'm not afraid of leverage at all because I'm disciplined.
You're in for the long game.
Yeah, totally. Because it works. It makes sense. Yeah.
So how did you guys end up together?
Oh, wow.
So how far into this situation are we here? Like, what year was that?
That was 2010.
Okay, so right when you're doing all this stuff, you guys met.
When I first, and and the second property in a row that I was going to buy. So Rachel and I met in 2010 at KW at the Biltmore office that I was working out of.
Okay,
and she was brought in from another agent. She was with with another company at the time, Green Street at the time, and he was like, "Hey, this girl's a new agent." I was looking for agents on my team.
Yeah.
She said, "Hey, Ed, come and interview this girl." It's like, all right. So I went up there and it's just like, no way. Like, she is hot. And yeah, and it was like, she's a new agent. Like, what a dumb idea. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, not to, I sat there and I interviewed her for like 10 minutes and was just like, oh my gosh, like, you're really cute. But I was like, I would get nothing done. Right. You know what I mean? Oh, here, let me teach you how to do this. Right. So like, no way. So we both said no, and the owner at the office at the time was like, okay, so which one of you guys is going to gonna bring her in? And I said, well, I'm not. Yeah. He said, if you want her so bad, why don't you? So he did. So he put her up at the front.
Okay.
And and that was when we met. And then when I really started digging her, I used to do all the culture stuff for KW for that office. I was like with the culture ambassador or whatever. Mm-hmm. So we'd have to do these charity events. And with this charity event that I did, I was getting really, really, really frustrated because the agents, there was like 80 of them. And nobody was doing what they were supposed to be doing. And Rachel stepped up and was just like whipping them into shape, right? And like telling them what's up and getting them to do this and getting them to do that. And I was just like, like, oh my gosh. I totally saw her in a completely different light. And it was like, from that point, I was like, oh man, this girl's cool. Yeah, she's really cool.
She's hot and she can
I know. She's got something.
She has some authority.
Totally. She's got that thing. So that was it.
So what year did you guys get married then?
Okay. So we didn't get married until later. Okay. We were supposed to get married.
That was a loaded question. I knew the answer to that.
Yeah, so Rachel's put up with a lot, man. So like we were supposed to get married in 2012, but the amount of money to have a wedding was the same amount as buying another property, right? Like legit, dude.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, she was cool about it, right? Like, so we pushed it off until for another year.
Did you, Rach? Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's obviously like super financially literate, right? He's very like disciplined in every step. So I'm sure his budgets and everything back then were probably crazy as well. Were you that type of person?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah, no, we are completely different.
Yeah.
And I was, he was 33 when we met. So just to kind of give you an idea, I was 24, single mom. Okay. Worked 2 jobs. When I met him for the first date, I met him at his house. And
play on, player.
I pull up to his house, and it's a nice house. It's like a new build home, and there's 2 vehicles in the driveway. And I come inside his home. It's beautiful, really nice. Had like some incense going. And I was like, so where's your roommate? Or you have roommates? And he's like, I don't have any roommates. And I'm like, oh, there's 2 cars in the driveway. He's like, yeah, they're both mine. I was like, oh, he was this man had it, he got his stuff together. So I did not have financial discipline at that time. I was a young mom and didn't have discipline from my family. I didn't teach myself the discipline. New in real estate, trying to make it work, and meeting Ed and learning his discipline. And if we were going to do this, here's the discipline we both have to have. Yeah, it's been a journey. I mean, and today, we've been together 12 years, and it's still a journey. But super grateful for the discipline.
Yeah, I don't spend a lot on random stuff. I spend, in the grand scheme of things, right?
You're an experienced guy.
Totally.
But you're just like, your number one focus when you see something is like, it's always investing with your money.
Yeah. Is this a good investment? Is this an appreciating asset, or is this going to be a liability? Right.
Right. So where did you get, so like at what point did you go, okay, I'm going to start my own property management company?
Good question.
Let me back up before I go to there.
Yeah.
How many properties did you have at this point of your own where you were doing this? Were you like, shit,
only 4.
Okay.
Right. So it was only 4 in 2012, maybe 5. Like 4 or 5. But, you know, there was some changes happening in the office that we were in. The old owner knew what we were doing and just let it all happen. We were the only, team that he allowed to do property management of his 3 offices, which was awesome. But that put me on the trust accounts, right? Because I was on the trust accounts because I wanted to make sure that the money was going into places that it was supposed to. So, because we had other people's money. Yeah. So once the new ownership came in, there were tons of questions, a lot of which I couldn't answer, right? Like, I don't know. Like, we were just running this like a little shoestring thing, running out of QuickBooks. And we realized at that point that there was value in the management and I wanted to keep it. I didn't want to get rid of it. And that's when we got on board, and I had a partner at the time with Capstone. She had been my old broker at KW. There's kind of a shakeup at our office. A bunch of people left. She was one of them, and I was too. And we started it in February of 2012. Yeah, February 2012. And then after that first year, like we realized like this partnership is probably best if we go separate directions because we were in our business. We were doing 2 entirely different things. And I was like, nah, let me just keep Capstone and we'll keep jamming. And we had only left KW with like 35 properties, right, under management. So it wasn't like a big number. Right. It was just enough to,
start a company.
Yeah, to help pay. But I was doing a lot of resale. So back then I was jamming, doing a ton of short sales. I think I took like 14 listings with me, right? Okay. So like I had a lot of business going on. And that's what funded everything. The resale was what funded my real estate habit. It was what funded my property management. It was what funded everything, So it's just a grind.
Before we go further, we do these rapid fire questions. We like to kind of break it up a little bit and Trisha likes to throw them in there. So
cool.
And we're not going to warn you, or we didn't warn you.
Ooh.
He has no clue. I mean, he knew it was happening, but he has no idea. Okay. And I'm kind of pulling a deep one on you.
Uh-oh.
I've never asked this one during a show. How would you like to be remembered?
Oh, as a giver, as somebody who gave everything, right? Who could give until he couldn't give anymore, like legit.
I can't believe you that just came out of your mouth like instantly. I thought that was going to stump you just a little bit.
I told him the question earlier. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Well, I'm not surprised.
That was a good answer.
Not surprised by your answer at all, because you are a very generous, giving person.
Oh, nice.
Second one, where's your happy place?
Ooh, I mean, our house, like whenever we're doing something, I get recentered back at home. I think I'm a homebody more than I'm an introvert, right? Like in the grand scheme of things, like I'm a pretty introverted person. I get my motivation from within, right? And it's like I love the time that I can spend just not having to. I don't know. Home is probably my happiest place. Yeah, where we live right now.
I thought maybe you'd say somewhere in northern Arizona.
No, that's her happy place.
Oh, that's Rachel's happy place.
Rachel's happy place is that one. But even like leaving like a vacation on this weekend, it's like, you know what? I loved that, but your favorite coming home was just like that. Oh, being grounded again, and let me do this. Let me finish that project. Let me finish that. Yeah, like I love that. Yeah,
I agree with you. And I'm an extrovert, but there's nothing like better for me is getting home from vacation and getting home to my house. Like that's my favorite part of the trip. I love going and doing the things, but like I'm like a 2, maybe 3 day guy, and then I like to be back home. I don't know if it's just Arizona.
Yeah,
but there's something about getting on the 101 after leaving the airport.
You're just
back
like
to my house.
Boom.
I'm like calm. It's just calm for me. So I get it, but I don't love being at my house. I like being other places.
Okay.
Doing things.
But bringing you home. So where's your happy place?
Flipper. This is the second time this is flipped on me.
2 in a row.
Golly. I would just say like my happy place is this is going to be a weird answer. I don't even know if this answers this. It's being in town, but being with like my friends.
Okay.
I like doing things. I like just like I'd rather go out to dinner than go to home and eat dinner, even if it's a home cooked meal.
Totally makes sense.
Does that make sense? It doesn't matter. So, but I don't have like a vacation spot where I love and I need to go. Like I like going to Mexico. I like doing this, but I just for some reason I just like this. I like Arizona.
Yeah, nice.
It's weird.
Most people natives.
Yeah, I love it. Arizona's amazing. Yeah. Like I love Arizona more than I like California. California's amazing to visit, right? Yeah. Like I visit there all the time if I could, but no, I'd rather live here.
So let's go a little bit further before we run out of time then. So now you have a ton of investments at this point. Well, I should say a ton, but how many do you have?
It's 17.
17?
Yeah.
Holy cow, I didn't realize there was that many. Congrats, Rach. And then I was talking to her the other day about your Munns Park deal.
Yeah.
And so
that's included.
She's gotten pretty savvy at this stuff too, by the way. Yeah, she's helping me.
No, totally. She knows what's up with when it comes to the Airbnb stuff. So it's like I don't like it at all. Right? I don't. Like
you're like long term or like
100%. And it's so much work and I see how much work she puts into it. It's such a passion for her. Yeah. And she's helping so many people like understand it better, which I like. And I mean, she's got a reputation up there. It's dope,
that's cool.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, she was in the randomly. We grabbed like the Munns Park magazine or whatever, or a newspaper, and she was like on the cover, or she was. It was like a battle between like the locals that don't want their Airbnbs up there versus the people that do. I think we know what side she was on, but obviously, she's definitely good at that stuff. So let's talk a little bit about Capstone Contributes.
Yeah.
Because like you just said, like giving back is a huge part. So when did you get into that, and like how to start?
Yeah. So Capstone Contributes it's kind of like what we name our party for giving back, because we used to give back and I always like keep money to the side and do something with it. And, I'm a big, like being honest here, everybody gives to get something, right? Mm-hmm. We give to get. If I know what your get is, then you're going to give more, right?
Yeah.
If I know what Rachel's get is, she's going to give more. My get is regarding my kids. Yeah. I want my kids to be included. Yeah. I want a feel good to come from my kids. I want them to I don't want them to grow up being jerks. I don't want them growing up being privileged. Like they're growing up in such a different household than me, right? So it's like, I want them to be amazing human beings. And I think that starts with giving them the opportunities to experience those things, right? I did with my dad early on. He would take us to like, the shelter, the LA mission. We'd bring people back to church, like all kinds of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that my get, if you get me to that point of really plugging into that get, I'll give all day long.
Right.
Capstone Contributes is that branch.
Right.
I used to give, and the stuff that, we would give, the team never felt it. The family never felt it. Nobody ever felt it. And to me, it's like, okay, cool. Of course we're helping over here. Of course there's something that we're helping. There's always going to be something to help. However, if I can plug more people into making it fun and exciting and an event it really gets people giving.
So do your kids get like way into it?
Totally.
Okay, so it's like when it's time to do it, they're like fully involved, engaged. Like it's like you're doing it, you guys are all doing it together to get it rolling. They're like from the beginning. So
they know it's coming.
Okay.
They're not as involved on the planning. This year they'll be more involved in the planning. Mm-hmm. But the last 3 years, I mean, we've only done it for 3 years, but it's graduated every year. But this last year, I mean, she was on our video, right?
Yeah.
She was the one that we videoed, and it was awesome. To me, that.
We didn't even say what it was. What is Capstone Contributes?
Oh yeah, so what do we
do?
So with Capstone Contributes, we supported the Homeless Engagement Lift Partnership, putting together snack bags through their snack bags program, which goes for children that are homeless youth here in the Valley. Help will take those help snacks to the schools, which they already know. The schools already know which kids at school are homeless. Mm-hmm. So they'll basically take these snack bags and put them and give these kids to, this food to these kids, because arguably homeless youth, like they get their square meals at school.
Yeah.
After school, there's no saying where they're going to get their meals.
Yeah.
That's why, I heard it was like the saddest thing. It's like on vacation weekends, right? It's like homeless kids are without food for 3 or more days, right? It's like, oh man, that sucks. So these are the snack bags. We raise the money. You raise the money to buy the stuff that goes in the bags, non-perishable food items. The group comes together. We write nice like words of affirmation, beautiful things on the bags, and then we fill the bags. So it's two-pronged, raising the money and then coming together to fill the bags. And that's what Capstone Contributes is.
So what goes into the bags?
Oh, it's like
chips and cookies.
Not chips, but they had like granola bars and Ritz and Cheez-Its and and all the little snack stuffs. Yeah.
It wasn't a bunch of sugary crap.
No.
What was the so how many bags were filled this year? Because it was like a record, right?
Yeah, 20,000.
Yeah,
and we become Help's #1 event, right? Like, which is super cool. Like
that was done in like 4 hours.
Dude, I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's like scaling it is just a matter of the money. And we raised like 27 grand, which was cool. And that's all of our partners. That's you guys. That's, all of our partners coming together and going, all right, let's do this. But that's why it's like, it doesn't have to be about Capstone. I call it Capstone Contributes because it's like just a way that I could label it and just put something out there.
Yeah.
But it could be called anything as long as we just get more people to come together to give like that. And that's what feels good, right? To me, it's like, man, you guys showing up and, like so many people showing up and, partners in the industry and, and people bringing their kids, right? Like,
Sleep in Heavenly Peace,
and a few of the guys that showed up, like even from Junto, right?
Yeah.
They're saying like, hey, like Harris from Journey, he was like, yeah, this is something my kids like look forward to. They love it, right? They love their shirt. They think it's an amazing like fun time. It's like, hell yeah. Like that's it right there. That's my get.
Yeah.
That's my get.
Yeah.
So
passion. This is just a passion going on here. That's for sure. It's cool, man, because it's like, I think you said something a little bit ago, just like when it talks about the get, right? And sometimes the get is just like someone creates a charity because the get is because they want like the publicity of doing it and to feel and look cool and look good. Like, hey, look what I did. Really, your get has zero to do with that. It's really just like, I want my kids to grow up better and I want my friends to be involved and bring their kids. And then I want to be able to contribute to the community in some fashion. And it's like, ultimately, your kids are going to be better people because of it. I mean, that's probably the best answer I've ever heard when it comes down to it, right?
So to your point though, I don't think that people who want to do, if their get is to get the publicity, I don't think that's wrong at all.
Yeah.
I think that as long as they're still giving and they're honest about their get, right? Like legit, if they're like, hey, we're going to get a lot of publicity out of this and we're going to give. Hell yeah, do it.
Right.
It's when people are dodgy about their real get, and then there's not enough. I think the reason why this to me is so well, of course it's me being authentic with it.
Yeah.
But it's like when we can really just say, hey, this is what we're getting, and that's why we did the videos.
Yeah.
Like, I want all of our vendors to be able to walk away with at least the get of showing all of their clients that they brought something cool. They made this flipping thing happen. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Ed, are those videos, you're talking about the one that Rachel and Ryan did and all the other partners, right? Are those on YouTube or something somewhere? I can link them for like the show notes. I mean, I know that we own it, but for YouTube, you got to have it has to be hosted.
So all of our Capstone ones are, but I send them out to all of our sponsors, all of our vendors, so they have them. Yeah,
it's great. I just want to be able to share it in the show notes, so I'll figure it out.
Yeah, and I'll
is that on your website?
I'll get those. Yeah, so we have so CapstoneContributes.com is another like page on our website that has all the last 3 videos. So we do it every year. Max at Picnic Tree Productions, he does a badass job, but he puts those together for us, and it's awesome, right? And they're great. And it at least, like, we've heard so many success stories of how that event has changed like other companies' perspectives on how they could give, or they then call Help and tie into that. It's like, heck yeah. Like that's dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's moving the needle and it feels, it fills my get cup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, heck yeah. Like if I can inspire others, if I can give like that and that giving leads to others, boom, like that's it.
You do have really good kids, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man.
I was in here a couple weeks ago, like on a Sunday or something, a Saturday or Sunday, and you brought in, I can't remember what it was, but like your kids are always very respectful, and like, or actually maybe you brought them into work recently.
Yeah. Belle, I think Belle was here. Yeah.
But so it's working.
Oh,
that's for sure.
Yeah, and just you know what I mean. It's to me that's super, super, super important because
it is. It is, and I think that we could all probably do a better job with that for sure. Having the Sleep in Heavenly Peace thing kind of just entered my life, so to speak, and because, just because of Lana and her family and how big they are into it, it's kind of just like led me into like going and just being more involved in that deal. And it's the same sort of mindset, I guess. These are all retired guys that are just like, this is what they just want to do.
That's cool.
But like they're very, very, very passionate about making sure that their families are showing up. It's a big deal. Like her dad gets pissed when like the kids don't go. Yeah. I mean, it's like it's not even a question. It's like cutting the grass. Basically, like you cut the grass, you're coming. This is what you're doing. So it's good. It's helping for sure.
And that's an amazing event, dude. Like I think, I mean, it's so well oiled, and the way that they make it easy to get. I mean, my kids had such an amazing time there. Yeah. It's like that to me. That it shows them that they're freaking hustlers. Right. That they're badass at doing work and getting it done. Right. It's like it takes it to them. That little confidence just boasts up just 10 notches. Yeah, I love that.
I think that's
Ryan, why don't you give a little plug for Sleep in Heavenly Peace? Not everybody's going to understand what that is.
Oh,
so Sleep in Heavenly Peace is an organization where they build bunk beds for kids that have never had a bed. So they do a build once a month, and it's always in a different location. Eventually they want to have their own building so they can just do it at the same spot, because sometimes they're out in Gilbert, sometimes it can be out in Surprise, and so it's nice to have a central hub, so to speak. But so you build the bunk beds. I think they built like 75 here that last Sunday. Here was maybe like 3 weeks ago.
Nice.
Here in the parking lot over here. And then you bring everything back to this warehouse downtown Tempe, and then throughout the week or throughout the month, the certain delivery teams go and deliver it to the houses, the apartments and stuff, and then they basically rebuild the beds inside the house. And
it's amazing, dude.
That experience alone is actually it can be extremely like emotional, like and it can be awesome. Jameson does it a lot, so like sometimes we're just like, sometimes you wish that the families were a little more appreciative. Sometimes the kids are out of like completely can't, they're the greatest thing, they want to help build the bed, and you just run into all these certain situations, but their whole like motto is everybody gets a bed. So anybody who applies gets a bed.
That's awesome.
Like, so if people come and say that they need a bed, they build a bed and they take the bed, and everything's donated, all the bedding's donated, but it's just all donated time. And there's a lot of people that goes into, I mean, that build, the before preparation, the after preparation, the after work and stuff is incredibly daunting. It's a lot. And
even the quality of the beds that they're building, like I remember just each station, it's like, it's the tolerances are like legit,
and they get. I mean, there's like it's a well-oiled machine at this point. But all these guys came from Habitat for Humanity. They met, like a lot of them met in the VW Bus Club. Oh, cool. But they just been retired guys that were out, just trying to do better, and they came across this whole situation. But I mean, Tough to Needle, they get donated mattresses, and then Lowe's helps with wood and stuff like that. But it costs about $10,000 just to do. They have to get about $10,000 in donations just for every build, just to even like go, and they do every time basically.
So if somebody is interested in applying for a bed, do they just go to their website?
Yeah, just go Sleep in Heavenly Peace.
Nice.
And there's like a local chapter here, and there's like I think it started in Colorado, but maybe it didn't. But so there's other chapters around the country, but not a lot.
And companies can set that up though. Absolutely. Too, right? Yeah, and like say, hey, we want our team to come out and help build a bed and raise the money for it, right?
Yep. Yep.
That's cool.
And you have, I mean, like our build, there was like a baseball team that was out there that day.
Oh, cool.
There was an insurance company that was out there that day. So you can always like go in with other companies to bring the funds, and you can just also just show up to be volunteer, right? So, that's the beauty is to get a big enough operation set up for your own company where you can just like everybody from that company can just spend the day with their family and doing this job. But I mean, it's amazing. I mean, there's like 100 some people out there that day. And everybody's always so worried there's not gonna be enough people. I'm like, there's always too many people, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot. There's a lot of people that always come to do it and support. So, anyways, this is not about Sleeping Family Peace, but Trish.
Saying we're at
an hour. This is actually one that could go really long if we really wanted it to. We're not going to, but this is
we can always have them.
Has it already been an hour?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of information that I learned today that I should have probably have already known, but I'm just the fact that you've gone. You built this business and you have all these like investments the 17 personal investments is a lot, right? So that you're like definitely
there's more room there.
There's obviously more room there, but I think that from a financial literacy and investment thing, you should be like teaching classes. I mean, there's a lot of information that people would love to know. I actually have like things I need to talk to you about offline as soon as we get done with this. Nice. That I may have gone to another person for, but without thinking about the fact that this is probably the right situation for someone like yourself.
Oh, nice.
So sorry, even though we know each other, but I think about you in a different, like I think about more on the property management side of things, but not the investing side of things. But I think that's what you're doing it for, really. Yeah. The property management side is the investing side of things.
Well, really. I mean, my team manages our doors, right? They manage our properties. And like, I'm client number one, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
I'm not our biggest client, but close to it. So most of our clients have properties that are like, a door, a couple doors. We have, a few that have over 20. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, I think where we help the most is in having conversations like this, where if I have a real needs analysis conversation with somebody and really start getting deep with them, finding out what their goals are for it, it helps in figuring out what they should really be doing.
Right.
This is the market where people are going to be in a position where they can sell a house or they can hold it. And if they bought it within the last 5 years or more, there is a high probability that they've got a ton of equity that they could pull out using like a HELOC or something, put that down on the net, whatever. Mm-hmm. But if they sell right now, like that's it. Yeah. Right. Getting back to the point of, all the people that I talk to, whenever I hear regret in conversation, the regret always comes from people who've sold, who didn't hold, who just sold. Yeah. Even when the market sucks, it's still people who are like, well, they're never complaining that they kept their properties. Yeah. Right. Like, I don't know.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, like your clients, so to speak, right now with your property management company are really like lifetime clients, really.
Oh, they're
right?
all lifetime. Like we don't lose clients. Yeah. Especially to other property management companies. We lose clients when they're exiting the space. And then it's time to do so. Right. Right. Then we've formulated a plan and it's like, all right, what does exiting look like? Did you talk to your financial advisor? Did you talk to your accountant, right? CPA? Is this all in alignment? Does this make sense? And it's making sure that people are having the harder conversations with us before they run into a challenge and we're like, dang, why didn't I just think of that?
You're basically like a consultant.
Oh, totally. Yeah. That's what my job is. I'm a strategist for our clients. Okay. Yeah. When they want to hear another perspective, when they want to hear from somebody that's doing it, when they want to hear from somebody that's taking his licks and still gets my ass kicked, right? I think I bought freaking 3 ACs in the last month. Right. Well, ouch.
There's that part. So that part, now I don't feel like such I was like, all right. Not everything's perfect. Okay. We all make mistakes. So. All right. So I know we've gone long and we appreciate you coming on here. And obviously hopefully maybe we'll do this again, to be honest with you. And, but yeah, I mean, Capstone real estate, realty professionals. But at the end of the day, they're property management companies, but it's and we don't really plug the companies too much, but I feel like I need to today.
Oh, thanks, man.
And Ed, I feel like again, another offline conversation.
Yeah.
But to Ryan's point, the fact that he didn't think of the company for what I'm assuming it's some like real estate investment plan, you might want to do some brand tweaking, because I kind of am in the same boat. I didn't fully get it either.
And that's we're working with Root and River right now.
Oh, you are? Okay.
On, a couple things. So
then you're solid.
Good point.
They're solid then.
But
Emily's a genius.
Nice. No, that's. I think that we're finally getting into the territory when I can start turning on the floodgates. It's been a long time building the processes, building the systems to where we feel confident like we do right now. We're almost there, right? Like, dude, I love the grind of the business, right? Yeah. Like, I love that piece, but we're almost to that space where we can turn it on so people know who we are, and we're reaching out to others to bring them in. All of our business right now comes from word of mouth.
It's interesting because one of the very first things that we discussed during our pre-interview was you said, I am not a fake it till you make it guy.
Yeah.
So I guess this is kind of unfolding exactly how
totally
it makes sense to you, right? Like, you feel super like you've arrived, you're secure, now you're ready.
I want to be authentic in that with people and be like, hey, I'm not going to ask you to do something that I wouldn't do myself, right? Yeah.
But it comes down to marketing, right? It's like, I mean, Rach struggles with the same. She's probably the best one of us, but we're all not that great at of really wanting to put yourself out there in the marketing standpoint.
She's the best.
She's the best, but she could still do a ton more, and we could do a lot more.
Yeah.
But when she provides value and information that's worthy, a lot of the people that do what you do are very vocal on social media.
Yeah. This is where your introversion.
I don't even know if they're like necessarily great at what they do, but like in your mind, you're going, man, these guys, they're geniuses, right?
Totally.
Of like on this strategy, so to speak. And obviously, a lot of them are really good at what they do, but they get a lot of business because of it. Obviously, you know what the hell you're doing, and you're just as good as they are.
Still learning, brother.
Right, we all are though.
Yeah.
Right. So it comes down to the marketing side of things, the things that we all could be doing better, and this is part of one of the things, right? Trying to do a podcast and trying to get us out there. But this is something that maybe you should be doing.
What, podcasting?
Yeah.
Yeah, picking.
You could do a solo podcast on your own, and just be like, here's a 15-minute like a 15-minute deal or a 10-minute deal, but it's just information, just vomit, right?
We do once a week. I do weekly videos that come out on Fridays. I've done them for 103 consecutive weeks since COVID started.
Discipline,
right? But dude. Sometimes it's hard to get to them. But they're fast. They're shoddy. One take. They're usually between like 7 to 10 minutes, and I'm just barfing what we learned in the week, what the market's doing. I use Cromford reports as my support for metrics, and then just dump that. However, I'm speaking to our clients, right? Like, I'm speaking to our current owners. I'm sometimes giving them. Sometimes I feel like I'm giving too much information.
Right.
Like, hey, this is what we're seeing right now. Like now, we're seeing tons of rentals on the market. Moving rentals is not as easy as it was a month ago, right? Yeah. So it's little things like that. But just making sure that expectations are on point so people know like what's up. But yeah, that's a good point. I need to get that out the more.
I'm just saying, I think that this would be, obviously we can help you with that, but I think that it would be from just not just your clients, but in your referral partners, but just like the general public. Right. You could probably do a really good job sitting without the headphones, maybe, but sitting on a mic and just doing the same thing you do there, but making it a little bit more polished and then sending it out to the universe.
Yeah, I like it.
He's got like a cool setup. When we were on Zoom,
he
has like a studio mic and a webcam that's really like clear.
Well, there you go then.
Yeah, it's just a matter of like pushing it out.
Totally. You're right.
Here's us telling you what you should do. But I was supposed to do a video every day this week so far. I haven't done it. So anyways, dude, thanks for coming on today.
Brother,
I really appreciate it. Thanks, Rach, for bringing him here. Obviously, they're a two-headed monster here. We got Rachel Drummond over here, his wife. She also is a really good loan officer here at Bison Ventures. Yes, remember, at the end of the day, we are a mortgage company. And our tagline is informed mortgage lending. So, and she's really good at that. So at the end of the day, we do need mortgages.
Yes.
So if you have anybody out there that needs to purchase a home or do a refinance, please give us a shout. And like and subscribe to Into the Storm on YouTube. and share these videos with your friends, please, because we need some more views as we grow, and all the social media platforms as well. Into the Storm. So that's about it, right, Trish? Or did I cover everything?
You got it all. This was a really good one.
Yeah, thanks for being so authentic and appreciate it. Thanks again to everybody back here, Trish, Trey, and thanks to VIP Mortgage for allowing us to have this cool studio along with Bison Ventures.
It is pretty cool. You guys have a good setup back here.
Thanks.
And we make it look
even really cooler in 2 weeks because we got some renovation stuff.
Ooh.
We do.
You tease.
Well, the wall. We got 2 walls. So renovation.
Oh, that's happening?
Pushing it a little bit.
God, see, I don't know. All right. Well, anyways, thanks again, everybody.
Nice.
Appreciate it.
You want to jump around in there and wave? Oh, okay.
Like, no, I'm good.
No, don't put me in there.
Oh, you're so pretty.
All right. Thanks again, everybody. Talk to you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.